نحمده ونستغفره ونستعينه ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي المقصرة أولا بتقوى الله، فاتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ثم أما بعد. All praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious and the most merciful, and the best of his peace and blessing shall be bestowed upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and upon those that follow his footsteps the best of manners. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Islam and Muslims have always been attacked throughout history in different places and different times. The Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, endured attacks, different kind of vicious attacks on him. Verbally, physically, conspiracies. But he taught us a lesson of dealing with such attacks, surviving and spreading light, spreading peace and spreading knowledge despite of all those attacks. A lesson for us Muslims, wherever we are and whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed for us to live and be. Attacks will never stop. للأسف الهجوم على الإسلام والمسلمين أصبح عادة شئنا أم أبينا وحتى أصبح مهنة لدى البعض يمتهنه الكثير ويمتهنها الكثير. These attacks, we hear about them every day. You just heard about what happened at Dar al-Tawheed, where a female that claimed that she was a Muslim, she tore the Holy Quran outside of the masjid. We all heard about the Punish a Muslim Day, April 3rd in Chicago. I believe it originated in England, if I'm not mistaken. And another story I want to share with you today. It's a holiday. We have our young generation with us, and it's important for them to hear the story, and it's important for us, inshallah, to learn the lessons out of this story. A few weeks ago, I was approached by a Muslim student informing me that there was some sort of an attack on Muslims at one of the universities downtown Toronto, the Ontario College of Arts and Design, OCAD. And this young brother, this young man that we're all proud of, he called me up, he goes, Feras, if you remember me, I was your student 10 years ago. And this is what's happening with us, and I didn't know who to talk to, unfortunately. What is the story? There was an art exhibition, and one of the art pieces was a prayer mat hanging on the wall, and this prayer mat had a drawing of a female body unclothed on a prayer mat hanging on a wall in an art exhibition, and nobody did anything about it. When the Muslim students saw it, they felt so offended. They were upset, they were mad. They felt that they were attacked. Their religion, their symbols were attacked. Some students felt unsafe, rightfully so. They felt unsafe. What to do? The normal reaction, unfortunately, from Muslim groups is to protest, yell and scream. We don't want to get chaotic. This is not acceptable. We don't like that. Yes, a lot of people have a instantaneous emotional reaction because they were hurt. But we don't like this. We don't want to function like this, brothers and sisters. We can do much better. We can learn from Muhammad ﷺ how to deal with these issues. So when they called me up, I said, let's deal with it in a professional manner. We wrote a letter for the administration with two demands. Demand number one, immediate removal of that piece. Because it's disrespectful, it's an attack, and nobody deserves to be attacked. Demand number two, we want to know the motives behind that move. Because if it was just a mistake, someone liked how the prayer mat looked, and they got inspired, turned it into an art, mistake. Let's not jump into conclusions. Then, it's okay, but please don't do it again. Be careful. We are reasonable people, by the way. Some people like to portray us as not, but we are. Our Quran and Islam is a religion of reason. If it's a mistake, it's okay, but please be careful next time. But if it's deliberate, then other measures need to be taken. What was the response of the administration? Sorry, it's a freedom of speech. The response was, freedom of speech, but this is offensive. They came back saying, freedom of speech includes the right to offend. Unfortunately. If you look at this story, they didn't do anything about it. If you look at the story and see what happened, would that have been the answer if it was some other group? Why the Muslim Student Association, why the Muslim students would get such an answer? After that, the students found a letter from the artist. And the artist called herself the Mu'mina, Al-Mu'mina. And she said that the reasons behind creating that art was to teach the Muslim males that they should not think of female bodies in a bad way. That was her reasoning. And the body was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's halal, and the prayer mat represents salah and it's halal, and putting two halals together, there's nothing wrong with it. That was her reasoning. We also requested to sit down with the artist and explain. And unfortunately, the requests were denied. Now, dealing with the university is a different story. I'll get to it later. But we want to learn from this incident. First of all, there are two things. And everybody, I want all my younger brothers and sisters here, whether you're in university, school, you need to know this. When people attack Islam, there are two reasons why people attack. Because you will see attacks more frequently, unfortunately. Yes, they go up and down. Yes, things are better, but they will happen. When people attack Islam, there are two things. First of all, the attackers, most 99.9% or maybe majority of them, because they're ignorant. They don't know anything about Islam. Rest assured, if they tell you, I have the proof in the Quran, like that lady, Quran is the source of evil and I have the proof. She's ignorant. She doesn't know anything about Islam. And we challenge her. And we challenge anybody. We say it with absolute power and absolute confidence. We challenge them. Then they come and talk to us. They say Quran is the source of evil. They're ignorant. If it comes from outside, non-Muslim, they're ignorant. And unfortunately, even some people that claim to be Muslim, like these two stories, they're also ignorant. Some people are filled with hatred because of the media and the propaganda, and they're just filled with hatred, and some of them even, you could see where they're coming from. Because someone convinced them that Islam is a source of evil, and some good people out there, they would say, but I don't want evil to spread, so let me hate Islam. Unfortunately, it happens. And then there are other people that attack Islam because of interest. What do I mean by interest? Either it's conflict of interest or interest in something. Some people benefit from attacking Islam. Some people get paid to do it. You need to know this, guys. Some people are seeking fame. They get something out of attacking Islam, support. They could win an election by attacking Islam. There are many gains to attack Islam, unfortunately. Some people will pay for that. So there are gains, or there are goals and objectives for them that they can achieve by attacking Islam. What do we need to learn from this as a community? There are two things that I want to focus on today, inshallah. Point number one, al-ilm. Point number two, al-izza. Al-ilm wal-izza, knowledge, and being aziz. Aziz, there's probably no English word that will come close to it. But being dignified is probably the closest. Having dignity as an individual and as a community. When it comes to ilm, we need to know, when we hear an attack on Islam, especially the one that claims that they have proof from the Quran and Sunnah that prove that Islam is bad, if we don't have ilm, we're going to fall for that trap. Or at least, if we don't ask Ahlul Ilm, we're going to fall for that trap. So your number one point to keep in mind to protect yourself is know that there's no such a thing as a bad Islam. We can prove it. But we need to learn, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to know. For example, that lady that created the piece of art said, Allah gave me the choice, the freedom to choose, and the freedom to do whatever I want. Some people use this in the wrong way. They say, I have the freedom, so I choose not to wear hijab. I'm talking about Muslims now. I have the freedom, so I choose not to pray. I have the freedom, and I'm addressing my younger brothers and sisters here. You might hear this. I have the freedom. Allah said, "Man sha'a falyu'min, man sha'a falyakfur." So I choose not to do this or not to do that. Is that true? Well, we need to know something, my dear brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave freedom to people to believe or not to believe. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. So choosing the belief or not to believe or not to believe, is your choice. Absolutely. To subscribe to Islam or not is your choice. Come on, it makes a lot of sense. You can't be forced into Islam, because Islam has a strong system of applications, do's and don'ts, halals and harams. It's not something that you can take lightly. It manages your life. You need to adhere to it. You need to understand it. There's a lot of regulations, and it's for your own benefit. Imagine living in a country where there's no law. I don't think anybody would choose to live in a country if there's no law, because we all know that law will protect you. Same thing, if you don't have law at home, which is your religion, you're going to suffer. So Islam is not simple when it comes to the application as a way of life, because it manages your life. You have a choice to choose to be mu'min or not to be mu'min. But you need to know that once you choose to become a mu'min and you believe in Islam, there's a very important rule here. Islam is perfected. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. You need to know that the system is perfect. When you accept Islam, you need to know that the system is perfect by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا زيادة ولا نقصان. You don't increase and you don't take away from it. It's perfected for us to manage our life by the designer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you need to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also based the rules and regulations in Islam based on a very important concept, which is وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Anything in Islam that's haram, it's because it's bad for you. 100%. Rest assured, be comfortable. Even if you don't know why, you will know later. Anything that's made halal, it's because it's tayyibat. It's good for you. It's going to benefit you. This is Islam. It's not open for change. And you also need to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ahzab, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَن يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. Once you subscribe to Islam, يا مؤمن, ومن شاء فليؤمن شاء فليكفر. You choose تؤمن, you choose إيمان, ما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة. Then you don't have a choice in the details of Islam. It's pure submission, complete submission. It's not for you to pick and choose. It's not for you to pick and choose. Have you ever heard of someone saying, I want to become a Canadian citizen, and I go through the process, and then once I become a Canadian citizen, I don't like the taxation law, I'm not going to follow it? Nobody can say this. I don't like the traffic law, I don't want to follow it? No. Once you choose to become a Canadian, there's a system that you submit to. Part of your deal. Same thing in Islam. So from al-ilm that I want you to know today is Islam is perfect, perfected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator. Anything that's halal is because it's good, anything that's haram is because it's bad. You have the choice to choose Islam, but once you choose Islam, you're not allowed to pick and choose from the details of Islam. Know this. Let your heart be assured that this is the way it is. Someone would say, but I don't like this. You either take it all or leave it all. Nothing in between. Because we're hearing a lot of talks nowadays on the freedom of choice and the freedom of this. And my opinion, when it comes to Islamic knowledge, there's no such a thing. There's knowledge. You want to understand, go and learn. But prior to that, it's not your option. Can I ask your brothers please to stand up and get close to Jazakumullah khair so we can make more room for the brothers. Barakallah fiikum. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم. Let's make room, Jazakumullah khair, for your brothers standing in the back. Barakallah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. So point number one, learning from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is al-ilm. And al-ilm at two levels, the details and the upper, higher level, the principles of Islam that we need to know, that nobody is allowed to change the principles that Islam, al-haram is khabath, and al-halal is tayyib. Your heart is comfortable with Islam, and you need to know that if someone insists on changing a principle in Islam, this person is called mustahil. Mustahil means this person just created a new religion. It's not Islam. There are areas in Islam that could get updated and changes, but that's related to the mu'amalat. It's not related to the core principles of Islam. It's related to transactions, financial dealings, the way applications. There's room for ijtihad, there's room for developments. But there are core principles in Islam that are not open for change. Al-Izzah. What really broke my heart in the story of the OCAD and the students is the Muslim students representing MSA were in a state of dhillah. In a state of dhillah. And I think the concept of dhillah is not foreign for us, unfortunately, at this age and time. من هو الدليل؟ الدليل هو قريب السقف من الأرض. وهو التفاسير العربية الدليل هو الحقير والوضيع والمهان. الدليل is a worthless person. Means nothing to anybody. It's not worth respect. It's not worthy of dignity. It's not worthy of anything. And I say it again, if it was some different group, would they have been treated the same way? Or is it that our Muslim students are in a state of dhillah? With all arrogance, they're told freedom of speech includes the right to offend. I think other groups will not have accepted this. I think if it was someone else, they would not have even said that word. Rasulullah ﷺ told us, لا ينبغي للمؤمن أن يذل نفسه. لا ينبغي للمؤمن أن يذل نفسه. It's not permissible for a Muslim to be in a state of dhillah, to be in a state of hawan, to be in a state of weakness, to be in a state of da'f. Your Rasul ﷺ is telling you should not be in a state of weakness. Because when you are in a state of weakness, you lose your rights. You lose your dignity. You lose your respect. مكانك في المجتمع انتهى كذليل. ليس لك أي اعتبار ولا أي حقوق. إن اخترنا أن نبقى في حالة الذل. Nobody would care about you. Because you choose to be in that state. The Rasulullah ﷺ was asked, وَكَيْفَ يَذِلُّ نَفْسَهُ? How is it possible to be in that state? Who would accept? As-Sahaba radiyallahu alayhim, they couldn't even fathom. Who would accept to be in a state of dhillah? How would people do this to themselves? He said, عليه صلوات الله, يتعرض من البلاء ما لا يطيق. يتعرض من البلاء ما لا يطيق. You're exposing yourself to things that you are not prepared for in the closest meaning. Or كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. You are exposing yourself, you're dealing with something without preparation. You don't know the system. You are marginal in the system. You're not participating in the system. You're not part of the system. This is a bala. And you can't deal with it because you're not involved. Because we're still living individuals. We don't see these numbers unless there's a special occasion. We need to prepare for our presence. We need to prepare for our power. We need to prepare for our izzah. We need to prepare for our growth. We are worthy of respect. We are worthy of dignity. Adh-dhul is really bad. The Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam warned us and asked us to use this dua all the time. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-faqri wal-qilla wal-dhilla. Teach this to your kids so we can have a generation that's aziz. The generation that's aziz will not even accept anybody to touch their rights, their religious rights, any kind of rights. We need a generation that's aziz. And that will only happen if we participate and build that izzah together. We need to understand that we're worth it. Every single one of you is a productive human being, tax-paying. We're in different fields, whether in trades or in professions or small businesses, mashallah. Even in numbers. In Ontario, we can make a difference. Now, what I'm saying here, al-izzah, so no one will take my words and flip them, I'm not calling to take over Ontario. I'm calling to protect ourselves, to be active, productive members of society. This is why we're here. We want to build society with our fellow Canadians. But we're not going to accept to be abused and attacked. This generation, if they keep living under this environment of continuous attack, they will never be strong. Because they will truly believe that Islam is associated with being dhaleel, with being weak. As long as I'm a Muslim, I have to endure attacks, I have to endure abuse, I have to endure, being called names and this and that. They don't want this. We don't want this for them. We need to infuse izzah back in our community. How? We need to build our community. We need to build our masajid. We need to make our masajid places that will always be open and equipped for our children. Our masajid are not the right places for our children because we don't have facilities. We need to build those facilities, not because we want to have buildings, because we want to have foster homes that will build Muslimin a'izza, strong Muslim personalities that will come here and learn and train and develop. We have, mashallah, huge resources we're not able to use. We need to participate in the political process. We are a few weeks away. How many of you have registered to be able to vote in parties, not just the general elections? Go back and ask yourself. We need to make a difference, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to make a difference. We need to be ready to vote, each and every one of you. That's a citizen. You need to vote. And don't listen to anybody that tells you otherwise. Voting is to protect your interests and the interests of Canadians. If we don't vote, we open the door for others to abuse the system. We even need to participate in parties, yes. Because we need to have a say in party leaderships. It's not aib or haram, it's a good thing to do. We're establishing izzah and we're trying to be part of a fair system. My dear brothers and sisters, there is adl and fairness in this country. But guess what? If we're not part of the design and the system, it's going to be biased. And it's just natural. It's going to be biased to a certain group. Unless you participate with your mal, with your juhud, with your nafs, you participate with your time, with your money, whatever you can do. Keep this as a goal for you. We want to build izzah for ourselves and this generation. We want to build a strong, fair Canada. Yes, we want. We want to be part of a strong and fair Canada, and this will never happen if we sit on the couch and isolate ourselves and do nothing. A test is coming every day, and the field is open for you to participate at this masjid or at your local masjid. I expect everybody here is from this area because it's a holiday. So this is your local masjid. Let's make this place a true beacon that will develop our community and will develop our youngsters and will represent us to protect our dignity and our izzah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the izzah that we need. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with His mercy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us His love and the love of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our children. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our deen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate the suffering of our brothers and sisters across the globe. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us learn Islam and help us understand it and help us apply it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يحفظنا من بين أيدينا ومن خلفنا وعن يميننا وعن شمائلنا من فوقنا ونعوذ بعظمتك أن نغتال من تحتنا اللهم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم احفظنا وهون علينا واحفظ علينا ديننا إنك على كل شيء قدير إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وصحبه أجمعين وأنت يا أخي أقم الصلاة